is like, I know.
Thank you, Kristen.
Yes.
Say it is.
January 23rd.
I know. How are we? It's Thursday, January 23rd, 2025. It is 5 p.m. and I'd like to call this meeting of the Clear Creek School Board to order.
Flanagan.
Here.
Hague. Here. King. Here. McHugh. Here. North.
Here.
I would move to approve the agenda as presented. I'll second.
Flanagan.
Yes?
Hague.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
McHugh.
Yes.
North.
Yes. All right. Updates.
Okay, thank you. It's been busy these last couple weeks, so I think a few things that I'd like to share. I'll just kind of go backwards from today. I spent most of today listening to the Joint Education Committee at the Capitol, really with talk around the governor's budget and how it connects to School Finance Act, per pupil funding, the impact that that potential change could have on, I mean, I was looking at it from our budget, but really from the overall budget perspective. And I just elevate it because there are still changes happening in the event that that does move forward as presented in that budget. We will look at additional budget reductions from our side. It sounds small when you say 1%, 2%, but when you do the math, it's pretty significant. So I would just like to elevate that. Another piece, Jessica and I met this week to talk about our legislative agenda priorities. And I think for the most part, we are very much aligned with the pillars of CASB, the Colorado Association of School Boards. And I think it makes a lot of sense to focus in that alignment, ensuring that our advocacy efforts are really consistent with state level. And again, those key priorities are all around funding, budgeting, finance, how we're gonna make this work, what student and staff success looks like, maintaining local control and local governance of school boards, and how we all engage with and ensure equal opportunity at charter schools. I would recommend that our top priority focuses in on budget sustainability, not just today, this year, but well into the future. So as bills are introduced, I would recommend that we take those up on a case-by-case basis rather than try to identify ahead of time too many. I've worked with Erica on negotiation prep and happy to report that the Clear Creek EDC is off to the races with the resiliency event in February on the 13th and the 14th. It'll be at the Teller House in Central City on the 13th, and then a breakfast on the 14th. And really looking forward to the work that goes on there, and happy that the school district can participate. And I think that's it. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Kelly already mentioned that we've already started working on negotiations prep, so looking forward to continuing that work. Really, my only other update is that Resilience 1220 hired a new executive director. Her name is Lindsay Breslin. We're very excited about having her come in. She's an Evergreen resident, and she'll be starting on January 27th. She's a licensed clinical social worker and with a master's degree in social work. And she has a deep nonprofit background with a lot of experience in mental health crisis intervention. So we're very excited to have her on board for Resilience 1220.
My only update is DAC, and I'll just give it now instead of the DAC part. The January meeting, we just finalized the survey. I did relay feedback that I received from board members. That was added. The only thing that was the student voice, it was passed on, the survey was passed to Ms. Matthew, and if time permitted, they were gonna look at it, provide feedback to DAC. It's gonna be ready by February 1st. Winter conferences, it's gonna have QR codes at all schools, at the conferences, library, rec center, and emails through your list, Beth's list, yeah. So we should be able to reach a pretty wide audience. And then that was a short discussion because it was basically finalized already, and we moved on to just general topics where it was mentioned that it seems like the board focuses a lot on growth of our numbers in our school, but never performance. So it wasn't asked that we address performance, but it just was brought to my attention that it seems like we don't address it. High educator turnover makes it difficult for educators to stay, for the educators that do stay year after year. Are we doing exit interviews for families that leave the district? I know we've talked about it, but not sure it's like an official process. And then there was a homeschool mom there that also has kids in the district, so she's a little bit of both. And she was just saying her experience, her kids that are homeschooled want to join the district for some programs, but it hasn't worked out due to maybe it's a popular class that's full, or the schedule didn't work, like too many off periods in between the classes that they wanted. But Jessica and Tom have, I think, both reached out to her and are having conversations.
Great.
Yeah.
It wasn't my
It is your turn.
I thought she was gonna keep going. I'm in.
That's
Okay. Let's see. So you guys didn't include my stuff. That's a little rough. Thanks. I attended the last CAT meeting. So at that last CAT meeting, you know, we just discussed what's being finalized with the bond monies and, you know, some of the loose ends that we're doing there. Kelly and I will continue to get updates from the facilities team and Tom on regular, just so we know what's going on with all of that. And then also we need to start planning for the long-term building planning folks to start that process as well. I attended the chat. Everybody asks every time I say this, chat is Clear Creek Health Assistance Team. So these are the folks that go out with, that accommodate the medical and the police force if there's a mental health crisis element to the call. One of the things that we've been working on is what's the best way to get the word out to folks that we are here, that service is available, that, you know, that they can get help quietly if they need to. You know, so there's just some outreach that they have to do that us as community members are helping them facilitate. I reached out to our new Board of County Commissioners to congratulate them on behalf of the board as the school board liaison to the county commissioners, and look forward to working with the new team there. And I think we have our meeting.
On the 11th.
Yes, in February. So yeah, that's what I've been up to from what I can remember.
Thank you all for all that you do. I don't think we can say that enough, so.
I have roses.
And thank you for all the folks in the seats here representing our schools, so thank you. I look forward to hearing all of your updates as well. I did follow up with the mom that Marcy lifted up. I had coffee with her and then introduced her to Tom, and
No, Monday.
it was this week. It has been a really long week. To kind of carry on with what Kelly had said with our legislative priorities, what I would like to suggest is that we create a space in our study sessions throughout the legislative session to just, we get the CASB policy updates, that if there's anything there or anything here through the grapevine, you know, bring that to the study session where we can kind of discuss and flesh it out and decide whether we need to write letters, if we need to have someone, you know, there in person or on video to give testimony. But I think that we can, you know, lift that up once a month and see if there are any policies that are, or bills that really need to have us advocate for them.
Or against them.
Yes.
That happens too.
Yes, but yeah, I guess that's really, so before the next meeting, I will put all of the updated CASB documentation. I asked, it was not online yet, but I should have it this weekend, so.
Okay.
Anyhow, that really is what I've been up to, is just kind of following up with people that have reached out to me and helping with GTIS. And anyhow, we get to wear lots of hats here in Clear Creek. So thank you all for all that you do. And Tom?
All right, much things, some things aren't gonna be on the overhead, some things are. But anyway, I just wanna take a moment to thank board members for your work. It can probably sometimes be thankless, so I'm not really sure, but I appreciate all you do. You represent our district, our schools, our communities as a whole. And you give up these 2 nights out of a month, along with many other times and other responsibilities, phone calls, meetings you're attending, as you just talked about. So thank you very much for that. I just have a small certificate for you. And then the roses there, it was Lori's idea, but those are from Lori and I. But I just went with a piece of paper for you. So it's a little certificate. I just want to thank you, and I think everyone recognizes the time that they put into. I guess I don't know if everyone recognizes the time that you put in and the responsibility you have. So thank you very much for your work. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you very much. Some other things here, though. As we're talking there, we have a map testing going out for grades 1 through 10. It's virtually, it's almost done. If not, we have some makeups to do in some of the schools, but that is a important thing for us to recognize, to see where kids are at, where students are at. Now we'll talk about growth, performance, same type of thing. We talked about something to talk about the CMAS results with that, but it's also just going, these are done 3 times a year, completed 3 times a year, looking for that growth for students. And then ideally, designing our instruction around that performance of the students and making learning more personalized for them, customized for them, recognizing what do they need to be successful. I'm not gonna go on about the school funding concerns. I think we know some of those things, but the legislative session, there's a shortfall, not in education all by itself, but just shortfall 700 million, no, that is education actually, excuse me. A shortfall for 25-26 that way. Kind of look at that averaging out, then they're talking about our funding based on averaging. In the past it was based on averaging, they're talking about not taking the averaging out. That will have an impact on Clear Creek School District, along with a huge majority. I don't have I did hear a percent one time, but I don't even want to say what I thought the percent was, but it's a huge percentage of schools that would have an impact on funding. I don't know where that's going, but just an awareness if you hear something about that. We have advertised a school finance officer position in some various places. That way we have some applicants. We're looking at that, trying to evaluate where are we going with that as well, just so you're recognizing that. We had some water issues just recently, like yesterday or the day before. I can't remember which day it was.
Day before.
We had a pipe burst at the old Carlson Elementary School. Luckily, it was identified fairly quick that day because we had walked through it. I didn't. Aaron and his staff had walked through it the day before. Nothing was going on, and someone happened to be in there, and it's like, hey, there's water coming down. They were working on the mural, so it was good. We found that out that way before more damage happened that way.
Was
So
it a
just
frozen pipe?
a frozen pipe that thawed a little bit and then burst that way. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, and then in the middle school, high school athletic area, in the girls' bathroom, I believe it's the girls' bathroom, there's been an issue with some freezing of pipes in there in the past. Last time we were told it's all taken care of, not gonna have to worry about that anymore. It wasn't quite accurate that way. So working on that, but I think our staff is actually, middle school, high school athletic area, Aaron and his staff are actually going to be able to do that by tearing some things apart, just doing some repair work without calling a contractor. And so those are saying things that way. I did have one other thing that's not on there too, that I haven't on my screen here. At the February meeting, some people have asked about solar and water. At the February meeting, Aaron has arranged for a solar group to come talk to us about solar and what that may mean for the district or not mean for the district. Just give us an overview of steps for all of our buildings, see what that would mean. There's some steps before that, looking at things. And then we also talk about water. There will be some people here, three representatives from Lookout Mountain will be here to talk about that as well. Aaron and I met with them the beginning of December, mid-December, sometime before break that way. Anyway, we'll go with that for right now. The next slide there. Many of you know we had the Denver 7 News segment on ski and snowboarding class. It's still out there. 11th grade student Kristen Neal was selected to the Colorado All-State Band, which is an honor.
That is huge.
That's something that
huge.
doesn't happen all the time for any school district. So that's a huge honor for him, and we want to recognize those things when they happen. There's some holiday parties at King Murphy. They were actually after the holidays, but Scott mentioned that to me. So I think he had it in his newsletter too. 6th grade at Carlson had a homemade craft fundraiser. Sandy, I'll let you talk about things you're doing when you get to that point. I had some things down there.
But then that craft fundraiser benefit the Charlie's place as
Yes.
well? Let's put that.
And then I probably have it in my notes here. 2nd grade class at Carlson's going to the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. They're doing some reading things with that. Get reading over some things that way. So just so you know that. And we had law enforcement recognition at Carlson Elementary last week. And let me see if I skipped anything that I have on my sheet here. That is what I have. I will give one other, and I just also finished out my scratch paper here. I'm not going to read because you couldn't read my notes, but I can usually decipher them. But some conversation was had today about ICE being in the metro area at some schools or things like that. They didn't. My understanding, the last I heard, they did not go into any schools there, but they were in the area. Schools used to be a protected area. They are no longer a protected area, along with churches and some other sensitive areas, as you would say. I'm not trying to be political here or anything like that. That's the first thing our attorney said. He goes, regardless of how you feel, this is what our interpretation is legally of it. If ICE would come into a school, which he does not think is very likely, he has some bad PR with it, quite likely. But if they would, we let them in, but then we ask before they can take any student or anything like that, our records, they have to have a warrant, a court order, something like that. If we have a question if that court order is legal or not, which we will regardless, it may make up a fake court order. I suppose someone could. I've never done that. But his recommendation to us was to send it to him and have him review it before they would go any further, turning over any records or things like that. My information to principals and a few others today was, let him in, talk to him, check it out, then we'll go basically the same process that Brent told me. So it's anyway, so we'll go from there. Hopefully that is not an impact here or anywhere as far as that goes. I think we want to handle it in the right way for our students. And I think that's an important thing to recognize too, of how we do that. We want to have the least amount of impact for our school, for our students, with the situation as a whole. We don't need to blow this up into more than, the aspect itself. So just an FYI on that way too. And I'll try to put some of these in board notes for all of you. So maybe make a little more sense. Yeah, those are the things. That's what I have. Okay.
Anything from our students?
Yeah, students are, getting adjusted back into the school after winter break. And that has been thrown off, I think, a little bit by math testing and teacher turnover. But other than that, students I think are getting well adjusted back, and our classes are really getting underway. Like our incubator EDU class is aiming in the next 2 to 3 weeks to start working with the ski and snowboard class downstairs to offer ski tuning and maintenance to the community. And other than that, school sports have started getting underway. Our ski team is about to have our 3rd race. Basketball has been having a game tonight. They've been having a lot of games recently. But that's about it.
Thank you so much.
I just need a minute to unshare.
Okay. Do you want to do an introduction while we do the technology.
As an introduction, I'll have Samantha come here from community school, and she can introduce her guest that she has with her, as Olivia, with you that way, but give you some time to start talking or whatever you want to do, or however you want to do.
And
this.
you're welcome to join us up here if you'd like, yeah. We can even bring another chair for Olivia, yeah.
So I'm Sammy Clem, principal at Georgetown Community School, and this is my assistant principal, Olivia Register. And Olivia put together this video for us to watch. I think it really encompasses what's been going on at Georgetown. We've been having a lot of project-based long-term initiatives going on. Kind of what Marcy was talking about earlier with that achievement piece. We really talk about the achievement we've had at our school. We've had great growth. Our test scores are fly high. We're doing really well on that end. And there's just a lot of exciting things going on in our little corner of Clear Creek. And I'm just so proud and excited of all the things going on in Clear Creek. I love Carlson, close to my heart, King Murphy, such great schools. It's so wonderful to hear all the wonderful things going on there. And here's all the wonderful things going on at Georgetown. Thank you.
Here at Georgetown Community School, we foster a sense of belonging, achievement, and independence. GCS was recently ranked among the top 40% of elementary schools in the entire state of Colorado.
What's going on? Well, I'll tell you what's going on. We have multiple lettuce varieties and cucumbers, tomatoes, apples, peppers, and even a pineapple. Our goal is to feed fresh veggies to our school and feed our worms all our scraps. I love planning. It's my favorite thing to do. We're going 4 Chia Pets. One of them is Donkey from Shrek, 2 Bob Rosses, and Trump. We're planning so many crazy hairdos. We're already in peppers, lettuce, and mint. We're hoping to have plenty more to eat soon. That's what's growing on in Georgetown.
The 2nd grade started a coffee cart. We call ourselves the Brew Crew. Each week on Thursday, we hand make and deliver delicious coffee drinks to staff. We are learning to count money, pouring skills, and keeping track of supplies. My favorite part is delivering drinks because it is so much fun.
K through 6 students are grouped into houses for the duration of their time at Georgetown Community School. Each month, students explore the Clear Creek learner attributes, including communication, character, leadership, adaptability, critical thinking, and collaboration. With 2 to 3 teachers leading each house, students build meaningful relationships across grade levels while developing essential skills in a supportive community. One standout feature at Georgetown Community School is daily PE classes for every student. We understand the importance of physical health and the deep connection between mind and body. Additionally, our art and music programs allow space for students to express themselves in unique and creative ways. In all of our specials classes, students experience voice and choice in their projects and learning. Our NWEA and CMAS scores continue to shine as students show growth in math, reading, and writing. Each year, GCS students consistently achieve higher test scores compared to the other elementary schools in the district. This is a testament to the hard work of our students and the dedication of our teachers.
Everybody, that's really it. Sing Masters here, our 3rd grade teacher. She's leading that What's Growing On in Georgetown. We just got a
$15,000 grant from Nourish Colorado to extend that project. And our goal is to have a school to table program where kids are getting fresh veggies and learning pretty much every school subject under all the roofs of elementary education in a gardening curriculum that we're developing. So really exciting stuff going on. And thanks everybody for your time.
I have a quick question. If you talk about Brew Crew, what day of the week is that? Is that up there? What's
So
it-
Wednesdays,
What time?
the Brew Crew?
oh,
I'll tell you how you have to get your order in.
Okay.
Wednesday, you have to put your order in.
Okay.
You can always have an order on us, Tom. And then Thursday, the kids come out and deliver it to staff.
All right.
Yep.
I'll contact you some Wednesday then, okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell me your order on
Between
Wednesday.
15 and 8:45.
Yes, is when the delivery's happen.
All right, okay, thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
CCCEA. Welcome. Oh, sorry.
Never mind the
Yeah.
financials, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
I wanted to save the good stuff for last.
All right, yeah, okay.
I'm ready to, I wanted to get all the fun stuff in first, yeah.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, these aren't that.
Sorry.
Relevant.
I'm just trying to keep you here.
Oh, oh. Thank you. And I'm sorry. All right. So the quarterly financials through December 31st. And we'll just start in sequential order. So looking at the general fund, one interesting anomaly is that someone with a CDE overpaid us in December for approximately $1 million. So as far as state revenue, you won't see much more than that through the end of the year. I think we're scheduled for 3 more payments for $75,000. Local revenue, our property taxes, they really don't start coming in until February, March, April. I guess March and April. So you'll really start to see an increase in Q2 or Q3, Q4. So for me, I guess the focus is really on fund balance at this point in time. Right now, we have approximately $5 million in fund balance, and that ironically kind of aligns with what we expect to have at the end of the year. $5 million feels like a lot of money, but in reality, it's a little less than 50% of our expenditures per year, or less than 6 months of, I guess, continued cash flow. And with that, we don't have straight line revenue. As you can see, this is 33% of revenues received, and we're 50% through the year, and that's actually on the high end. If we backed out that $1 million, it'd be closer to 25%. So it's really important just to make payroll in February that we maintain that fund balance. Otherwise, I think we really are kind of tracking in alignment with the overall budget deficit of $920,000. We may come in a little better than that. There's just so many kind of unknowns still at this point in time. One big unknown, for instance, is the forest funds. Last year we received $400,000. We've budgeted $200,000, which guaranteed to us is zero. If the county receives funds, there's a portion that goes to us, a portion that goes to Road and Bridge, and then the remaining balance is discretionary. So there's really no good way for us to budget or know what's going to happen. And we've had a lot of change from a county level in personnel. And so is the district, historically, we've received the discretionary funding in, a large amount of the discretionary funding. We just don't know if that's going to continue to go forward. So there just is a lot of kind of unknown still at this time, but
the original budget is pretty close with, you know, some contingency remaining there as well. Is there any questions, just looking at kind of the revenue and expenditures for the general fund? They're broken out by program on the first page, and then the next page, they're broken out by object.
And just to clarify, when you say that, you know, it could come in a little bit better than the $900,000 predicted deficit, it's not by much, it's still like $850,000.
I think it's incremental, yes. I mean, I think we're gonna be within around $100,000 is how I'm interpreting the numbers.
Have you had any communication with the county around forest funds?
So I did email Carol last week, and I didn't love the response that I got. So I think I'll have to pick up the phone. I didn't really feel like she either didn't understand my question or didn't know the answer to it. But I didn't get any more clarity. And I know last year we didn't receive those funds until May. So,
And maybe it's something we bring up in our,
Well, I'm guessing the reason they don't know is because they don't know, because the
Right.
federal government hasn't decided that
Exactly.
they're gonna
Right.
approve that part of the
Right.
budget, and there's
They
lots
may
of
not get it.
indication that says they will not. And so I think they're biding their time as they
Yeah.
make that decision.
and from what I recall last year, that was the message that I received, is this is not guaranteed funds going forward. But we could receive it. So we went kind of on the conservative end and cut it in half, saying we're either gonna swing one way or the other. Yeah, anything else there? Okay, so moving on to the food service fund. We've received only 34% of budgeted revenue. It does seem relatively close to where we're going to end up as far as revenue is concerned, as we've only received reimbursements through October. The expenditures are at 40% of budget. I think we'll be close there. We might do a little better than we had budgeted as well. We're also purchasing food prior to serving food. So the food costs don't align with revenue completely either. We're scheduled to transfer $175,000. I do think that that's probably going to be sufficient, but depending on Tabor reserves and whatnot, we'll just need to keep a close eye in April and May on whether or not that transfer amount is going to be sufficient. So food service here used to, I think, not demand as much of a transfer, but given the healthy meals for all, the funding just doesn't quite cut it for our district. I know a lot of the bigger districts, they're doing just fine because they have economies of scale in their purchasing. And then we have multiple building locations. So some smaller districts living on one campus, if you will, they're even able to live in those parameters. But we're unique in that we have multiple buildings, so we require a lot of labor. And then we're not buying enough or serving enough meals to really be getting the discounted pricing. And then also just our location being rural and mountainous region, we're paying more. So I don't anticipate that this is gonna change for the district unless the state suddenly decides to kick in more funds. But this is probably going to be an ongoing transfer that the district can expect. The grant fund. So we budgeted for approximately $900,000 in revenue and expenditures. With that, the local revenue, the top line, it's really more or less the contingency. If we were to receive more in grants, then we don't have to come to the board every single time. We're getting money in, so we're only increasing expenditures as revenue comes in. With that number is probably fair, being that we also submitted on 2 grants this year, the EASY grant, Empowering Action for School Improvement, and YMH, Youth Mental Health through the Attorney General. Those are both pending grants. If we were to be awarded the EASY grant, we would receive $20,000 in funds this year. We should know anytime now if that's going to come through or not. And then the next 2 years, when the program's really up and running, it's closer to $95,000 a year. And then the youth mental health, that's a 3-year grant, and it's approximately valued at $250,000 a year. So it would be a huge win for us. And it coincides with the Youth Connection grant. It's a private grant that actually runs through the general fund, so you're not seeing it here. That's how it was always set up. I don't know that we want to do that going forward, but we'll be losing that grant. And it carries 25, 26, and then it drops off 26, 27. So we're really hoping that, in particular, the youth mental health grant comes through and we don't feel that loss there.
Is there anywhere within the district, where we have a reporting of what grants we're applying for, how much they're for, and where we're at on the status of things?
Yeah,
And in addition to that, it'd be really helpful to know what, I guess, is funded by the grant, like which staff too, because
We
then
have that.
when it falls
Yeah, I
off,
have
then we
that.
still have
Yeah,
the
I
staff
have that.
and, yeah.
yes.
It's.
We have that.
Okay,
I don't know if I'll get it in this week's board notes, but I'll get it
okay.
next week.
Yeah, it might need a tiny bit of love, but for the most part, that's
We have it
that's
on
done.
a spreadsheet that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And really, the budget now, the grants are broken out in here, so it gives you kind of a list of all the active grants except for what lives in the general fund, and that's really only Youth Connections and some of the grants that pass through BOCES. And I think the BOCES grants definitely make sense to be in the general fund. But any other private grants, I think, should probably live here in the future. The bond redemption fund. So we made a payment in December, and we have another payment that will be due in June. The December payment included the last debt payment for the Series 2019 GO bond, so that's a win. We paid off some debt there, and the June payment is scheduled for $716,000. So we have fund balance to cover that, even though we obviously have additional funds coming in. I guess the only other thing I could think to note on this page is earnings on investments. Right now, we're doing pretty well as it relates to investment earnings, and this is across any fund that's carrying cash. But we're in a declining interest rate market and really a declining fund balance. So we can't be living on interest earnings any longer.
You're depressing, Leah.
That's what you pay me for, right?
Trying to skip over it.
Cynical. I'm just trying to highlight risk.
No, it's important.
It is important,
It
thank
is,
you.
thank you.
Capital, here's some silver lining. Our capital reserve fund is, I would say, relatively healthy at a balance of $1.7 million. I don't anticipate us spending a lot more going forward this year since we still have additional bond funds. It would be my recommendation that the bond funds, as long as they're allowable use, we spend that down and close that fund and maintain capital reserve. One thing in the past, we used to have a lot of the technology, more or less consumable laptops that are replaced every 3 years. Purchase price is less than $1,000. That was going through a capital reserve fund. I don't think it makes sense there. That's an operational cost that should live in the general fund. So you'll see some of that kind of changing in budget this year as well. To me, cap reserve is anything that's truly a capital investment. Yeah. So
Doesn't usually have like a number of years that it lives too.
no, it should be improving
Yeah.
our asset and capital, not depreciating. And then the preschool fund. So that's actually looking better than we had anticipated first quarter. I'd say is really in close alignment with what we originally budgeted. Revenue and expenditures, there's some changes there. I think revenue will come in a little less than what we had anticipated, but I also think expenditures will fall in line with that and they'll be reduced as well. So I think that the $100,000 transfer that we have scheduled should suffice. Another fund that we'll just have to watch as we get closer to the end of the year and how things are ironing out. But at the beginning of the year, for enrollment count, there were 22 students at King Murphy, 14 students at Carlson Elementary. And current enrollment, King Murphy has 26 kiddos and Carlson Elementary has 21. So that's a good thing. That program's definitely on the way up.
No, if I can just say, because one thing you said, we're transferring 100,000, because without that, we'd be $100,000 below.
Yeah, it's not, the fund is not sustaining itself.
Right, yeah, it's not a sustainable thing. We're already in the hole almost 11.
Yeah, but when I was looking at the numbers towards the beginning of the year, I thought we were gonna be $150,000 loss. It was uglier, so it's
Less ugly.
less ugly. But yeah. And there might be some creativity on how that's structured. But for this year, it's definitely what it is. So you have to walk that line with the number of teachers or leads in the room versus
Right.
the student count.
Whether or not
So-
the teacher wants to use the restroom.
Yes. So final fund is the building bond fund. The arbitrage interest set aside, it wasn't recorded in the budget. But I think it's something that we should all know. We did a study and through September, it was set at $1.9 million. So that's basically the tax that we'll owe. And then since we do still have funds in that account, we continue to accrue interest. So that number will grow, but theoretically we'll also have, the interest to pay for it as well. The variance between the interest earned and the set aside, I think freed up pretty conservatively about $1 million that will become available that Jacobs was never really authorized to spend or viewed as budget. So those are, in thinking of capital planning, that might make sense to kind of keep that as the dollar amount that when the bond closes, we're going to have to continue other projects. That doesn't include any contingency that Jacobs might release. I think we'll know those figures here in the next couple months as they depart.
I would think by next month anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also, I think Jacobs should be able to close out the roofing projects. If they come in over budget, then we might have to dip into some of that set aside interest money. I think that's it for the financial statements, if you don't have any questions there.
Okay, thank you.
I did add one other thing that's kind of new. Last year in May, I received a letter from the state auditor saying that they basically run a list of like fiscal health indicators on what districts they're kind of concerned about not meeting benchmarks. They have 5 benchmarks and they basically plug in our audit information. And we're triggering 2 of 5 health indicators saying you're really in trouble. And primarily that relates to the declining in fund balance year over year. We're in the 4th year of audited decline. We'll be in year 5 as we close out this year, and in all likelihood, 6 going forward. So part of their audit letter, we had to respond. And the 3 questions they asked us is, what's the underlying cause of us missing the benchmarks? What steps are you taking to turn the trend around? And what actions have the Board of Education taken to improve the district's financial condition? So they're very concerned about where we're at, and they really want us to have a turnaround and at least, I mean, have a balanced budget in all likely, like that's what they're looking for. And so, I mean, it is doom and gloom, but it's not just me looking at the numbers, it's anyone looking at the numbers. We're just not meeting the benchmarks that we should be, so. I'll close with that unless anyone has anything to add.
Thank you, Leah.
Why does this, my, no, right?
I did try to skip the unhappy stuff, but, right.
Will you join? I will join. Polly, would you join me? They're heavy. You're just smart people.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity to speak. As you know, I'm Rachel Richardson, Association President, and this is Sophie, she's our Vice President, and Polly, many roles, but she's our King Murphy AR right now. Thanks for letting us speak and give you an update tonight. Prioritizing students is and will always be the foundation of the association's mission. We continue to urge the district to focus on attracting and retaining high-quality teachers and cultivating a stable, supportive learning environment for students and their families. Unfortunately, the Clear Creek class of 2025 has endured 4 years of ups and downs from, as our student person over here, leader said, from staffing inconsistencies due to high teacher turnover. In fact, right now, the high school, as you probably know, has been short one math teacher since Thanksgiving. It makes us all ask, why has the district been unable to attract and retain a qualified math teacher? Why does high teacher turnover persist? Another issue we've heard from our members is about the scarcity of substitute teachers, and it continues to be a significant challenge for all of our schools. Teachers at the high school, middle school are being asked to forfeit their planning time to teach for absent coworkers, which of course reduces instructional effectiveness, and that in turn negatively impacts students. Support staff are frequently asked to teach for absent teachers, at least especially the last month at King Murphy. So students then forego that small group and one-on-one differentiated support that they would otherwise receive with that paraprofessional. We've also heard concern about the new child daycare that's planned to open at Carlson. And the concerns are, will it directly compete with Carlson's current preschool program and impact the job security of Carlson's teachers, current preschool teachers? We know that there's a community need for more childcare, but we're concerned that this addition of a less expensive childcare with early childhood education, that it could directly compete with and impact our Carlson program. To wrap it up, we, the association, repeat our plea. Please carefully assess and align spending with the district's mission. Clear Creek students cannot enjoy personalized education, as our website claims, when their teachers don't return year after year, or worse, quit mid-year. Your decisions have massive consequences on our schools, and most importantly, our students. Please allocate resources toward directly supporting our students and addressing their educational needs. Thank you.
So we've had our deck update. Yes, you've given our cat update. I don't see any
Yeah,
other
we're
cat
good.
numbers.
We can take that one off the agenda if you want.
That can come off your future agenda.
Carlson.
We're gonna have the kids.
Carlson PTO representative? Okay. Just making sure, just going through my list because I'm obviously missed on my list today.
Can I just say one thing
Yes.
about the cat though? And I don't think that we've done it as a board, but I think that we have volunteers on that committee for a long time. And you guys were there throughout all of our pain, growth, and excitement. And I think that, it's commendable that we just had, community members step up to the plate and participate. And I certainly appreciate it. We didn't always agree on things, but that's okay too. They were there and they participated, at least up until the last few months, during the heavier meat of things. And I think that should be acknowledged within our community. Yeah. Thank you for letting me do that.
King Murphy PTA, and then I'll hit the booster call. This is just King Murphy.
We're the King Murphy PTA, yep. So I'm Heidi Art, I'm secretary. It's Josie Kleinmeyer, she's our very recent president as we had a departure. And Jacob Wolf is our treasurer. Thank you for inviting us here today. We are all, the three of us, super new to serving on the PTA board. So we're learning a lot about what that means. PTA has a lot of rules, a little bit like the school board. It's different than PTOs. And so we're figuring a lot of this out as we go and doing our best. I sent a few pictures in just to kind of highlight some of the things that we're working on at King Murphy. We've got a few primary missions. One is to support students and educators and families. The PTA holds a variety of fundraisers throughout the year to help with classroom support needs. We have funded some curriculum at King Murphy, Mystery Science, for example, and supplies for classrooms as well. We also hold community events. The picture on the left is our annual movie night, which we hold at the end of September. It's a free event for the community to come and get together early in the school year. We also have, the top right picture is from Trunk or Treat, and we have a parade and also a pumpkin walk that we invite the community to. We really want to spread word about King Murphy in the community. A lot of people in Evergreen don't know about King Murphy and how wonderful it is, and so we try to share that and talk about it. Another community building activity we have are what we call mixers, or kind of after school mixers and parties. The bottom right photo is a photo from our pre-K mixer that we did in the fall. Holly from the Clear Creek Library came and ran this mixer with preschoolers, and they had a blast with a parachute and Miss Holly and throwing balls up in the air, and it was great. So we take very seriously, our role in promoting community and supporting teachers and staff. And did you want to talk about the preschool?
Yeah, which we are really, I think you left out a little that we do try to do a lot to support the staff with, we did a dinner during the conference week in October where we catered some dinner for them, and we stocked the lounge with snacks, and we're trying to continue to do that, just whatever helps make their day a little better. And then, with preschool, that was something that, so I have a 3-year-old, she'll be an incoming preschooler in the fall, hopefully. And then I also have a first grader who is going to second grade next year. So I kind of see it as my goal and the goal of the PTA to help integrate our preschool families a little bit more into the school community, because
I know my experience when my oldest was in preschool was it feels a little, not fully a part of the school community. It's hard to get the full communication because I know it is a different thing than K through 6. So I think that by, putting a little bit of PTA effort and resources into that, we increase the chance of retaining them as families for K through 6, especially as we see an increasing number of Jeffco families considering King Murphy's pre-K program. And something we wanted to kind of ask of the district and of the board to think about in the next year and into the future to help promote our preschool program is better integrating our preschool registration process with the UPK registration timeline and with Jeffco's timeline, because since we're seeing interest from Jeffco families with the changes that they've seen with their Evergreen schools, we just want to be like really accommodating and ready to welcome them in. I'm part of the Facebook group community in Evergreen and see a lot of our Clear Creek families promoting our pre-K program and our district as a whole. And so, yeah, we just hope that the board and the district can be on the same page with us of like, we are a worthy district to consider, especially King Murphy being on the Evergreen side of the county. Does that sound right? Does that sound? Yeah.
I just want to say thank you. Up until this school year, I was the PTA president at Carlson, and we tried really hard to see how we could work together for field day, and we were successful at doing that. And I hope that that continues, because I think it really advances that last piece of how do we talk about the whole community. And I remember when I left, they were worried at King Murphy about who was going to step up. So I just want to thank you for doing it. It's fun, kinda sometimes, but it's work and it's volunteer time, and I really appreciate it. And I couldn't agree more with how we integrate the younger preschool families in, so they'll stay in our kindergarten program and then graduate from our high school. So I just have lots of shared vibes with you, I guess, and really appreciate your time and willingness to do the work and herd the cats and give back to your community. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And anything you can do to keep the teachers happy,
We try. We had,
Keep that going.
we do a Thankful Thursday every year, the week before Thanksgiving, and bring the teachers gifts. And we brought gifts and treats to the classrooms. We had a lot of community participation this year, a lot of donations from community partners. Tuscany Tavern donated the conferences meal last term, and we're exploring who's going to help us out here in February. So we're really kind of trying to make the teachers feel special and loved and cared for.
Oh, and
sure.
we do have a community event in February on the 27th, our chili cook-off, where, I mean, it was really well attended last year. Lots of participation.
Try again.
I know.
Try again. Growth mindset.
Well, in Polly, didn't your chili win?
Yes.
Yeah.
The second place.
Yeah. So that's an opportunity for anyone in the district, in the community to come and.
What time is that?
That will start.
5:30
And
on February 27th.
I probably haven't read it. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's going to be bigger. We have a silent auction as well.
Yeah, so
this
getting
year.
donations from the community.
Can we get Scott back to sending some of us without kids the updates on King Murphy? I'm still not getting King Murphy or high school, middle school.
Ooh, we should get.
Would you like to get the PTA
I would
newsletter?
love to.
Okay, we'll figure that out.
Thank you.
We also are going to give the kids a s'mores party during the chili cook-off. We're working with the fire department to create safe things around fire pits. So, so please come and it'll be enjoyable. We're also talking about this year, I don't know that it's a big lift, but we're discussing how to create maybe a district-wide elementary talent show. So King Murphy has a little talent show, different schools do. And there's a few of us that have been talking about, we have like levels where each school has it and then they send some to like a district-wide one.
District.
Yeah.
Love that.
I don't know, District Idol or something, I don't know. So we're exploring that and kind of spitballing for next year with things like that. So to your point about, kind of collaborating all together, so.
And in taking this on, yeah, like we said, we're a new board. We're battling a bit of the stigma. There's a lot of stigma around PTA that it's a lot of over-involvement, over-commitment, and drama and competitiveness and we're
Sounds like a lot of fun.
like that's, yeah.
Everyone said it was like fun-ish.
That's, it can be
Is
the
that
farthest from the
sometimes
truth. And I think we are doing well in getting involvement and for parents, other families, and helping everyone see that it really is just about supporting our school community and our staff and our, teachers. So.
Can I just jump in really quick about your comment about having preschool enrollment kind of linked with the rest of the enrollment?
Yeah.
So we actually are doing a marketing campaign and we updated the webpage today. So if you go out to the main page and you scroll down, there's step 1, but then if you go to step 2, 3, and 4, that includes preschool along with all of our other enrollments. So it is all integrated.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that our preschool teacher who was at our last PTA meeting mentioned she was giving a lot of tours and parents are looking at the Jeffco registration deadline and the UPK registration deadline and feeling some pressure that it wasn't open yet for them with King Murphy if they wanted to consider Clear Creek. So, but I think that just, we just need to reassure them, like, don't worry, if you want to consider us, or if you want to consider Clear Creek and King Murphy, it'll be there for them.
Well, and we want to be poised for that, right? If
Yeah.
people would like to register, we want to take them, and if we're not ready when Jeffco is, they may not pick us, depending how much they're panicking.
They want to get the thing
They
taken
want to
off
get
their
it done,
list.
exactly.
They can do it tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and again, like, I welcome, again, as a parent of a incoming preschooler next year, like, I welcome any ideas or communication on how we can market our school to the Evergreen community, because I think King Murphy is unique in that way that we have that opportunity, and like, what kind of priority is that, and how do we do that? And, I'm up for it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time in doing all this.
King Murphy has we're so
Yeah.
spoiled. We're so
Booster Club. Yeah, her whole courtroom was sick. She sent her red. Oh.
One for you too. Don't be greedy.
Now she
I
has.
think I did it online already.
No, this is not for you guys.
Oh,
I want to show you the form.
Okay, so everybody knows what the Booster Club is. When you weren't here, I had them, there were 3 of them, and they all sat here.
Yeah. Yeah, we should have.
But he's gonna, it is 6, I have to get your brother.
Well, I'm Pam Ginter with the Clear Creek Booster Club. Thanks for having me. So just pretty much what I'm going to kind of keep it short, just introduce the Booster Club, because as we find out in high school, many students, faculty, and parents have no idea what we are. So I can't imagine that you guys necessarily do. So just kind of a brief on that membership letter on the back, it kind of tells what the Booster Club does. But basically, we are, typical booster clubs are for athletics, but at the Clear Creek Middle School and High School for, I don't know, ever.
Ever since I've known.
Yeah, the booster club is everything.
Right.
This year, they are forming a PTO, which, at first, kind of when people were kind of bringing it, I'm like, that's fine, but don't ask me. I can't add it. So you do what you want. But it is kind of exciting because I'm also hoping that's going to take some of the stuff that we do. So like some of the stuff, and then the second page is our budget. This is the budget of what the expenses we pay in the middle school and high school. This is not our own above and beyond. So this kind of gives you an idea of, let's say the 22, 23, 24, it was over $50,000. This is what we contribute to the school. This does not include, we tend to pay up to $20,000 on a typical year, $20,000 in scholarships. So this I wanted, you guys are aware of what we pay for the officials. We pay for the prom, after prom party, we help towards senior trip. The kids get t-shirts when they're in athlete, sports or musical. And then on top of all this, we also help pay for improvements in the school. Like we paid for the new scoreboard for the baseball field last year. And it was to the point, from my understanding, they were keeping score with with sticks and stones, literally. So, so kind of like, I just kind of wanted to go over that. We pay for huddle and stuff like that. But I also wanted to kind of go over a couple of things like that we do for fundraising. So GTIS, which is, in case you don't know, is the Georgetown to Idaho Springs Half Marathon. So that's always the second Saturday in August. We're always looking for volunteers. It is just the biggest fundraiser that probably any booster club has anywhere. And we raise typically, we could easily raise $75,000. But we can't do that without help. And that's community help. One of the biggest things that really came on is now with all this development in the cities, we are losing parking. And the runners are freaking out. And the businesses are freaking out. So you community members, if you guys have any insight for this coming year, now I'm hoping we'll be able to put the new Carlson, because last year we couldn't. So I'm hoping that'll kind of relieve some of that. But really it's a community effort. You know, I think people think, oh, it's just the booster club, but all the elementary students also eventually come into there.
Absolutely.
There are elementary students who in third grade are doing middle school sports. So
Was there a course change last year? Or?
it's been changing every year a little bit.
And I think that's part of.
Yes, because now we go through, we used to end up at the old field.
Right.
Now we go through the whole town of Idaho Springs and end up at the baseball fields.
So we don't, yeah.
Now this year, they're gonna be under construction
Right.
this summer. So we're still kind of little variables, but I kind of mostly want to just kind of, you can see that, like, if we don't raise enough money for that, we can't help with all these things we do for the district and the school.
Now, does the Booster Club have anything to do with or help allocate the funds for the C3 sheriff's money that they?
You know,
collected?
no, that went directly to the school.
Okay,
So-
so where's that money? It was supposed to be just for sports.
It's for sports and AP classes.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
so that went directly to Clear Creek High School.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, which I totally appreciate. So hopefully
Yeah.
they've been
So
able
from
to
a
use that.
community aspect on the parking for Georgetown, we do have that event parking spot that we haven't built a building on.
I know, but last I heard that Georgetown, I mean, believe it or not, Georgetown was the first one that shut us out, the city of Georgetown, for parking.
So we have been discombobulated.
So hopefully,
But I think we could probably work out something.
that would be great.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
a lot of people used to park up in Georgetown because that's where the
Right.
race
I
starts.
mean, I never had custody of my golf cart during those years.
Right, and then we would run the shuttle, pretty much the shuttle buses for the most part just had to run racers back there at the end. Now, with no parking, we're having the buses, which again, our cost for
Mhm.
buses this year. And actually, and then the county used to donate money and now we had to pay the county over $3,000. So everything's changing now. And so now we have to bus the people park somewhere in Idaho Springs, random places. We have to have the buses there, run people up to Georgetown and then go back and forth. So, yeah, if we can find parking in Georgetown again, that would be, and like Jessica's helped at the parking places and it's a nightmare.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Do you talk with the Forest Service about parking?
Oh,
Don't even.
Are they as
Don't.
friendly as everyone else that we've talked about so far?
so the forest, if you're talking about right next to the fields, oh my God, if we
No.
even,
I'm talking about the building, right?
oh, I don't know who's there anymore. Is that even open right next to the, Carlson?
Last year, they put some cones
Okay.
up for about half of it, like there were like.
Well, there's
10
like one
businesses.
worker
Yeah.
in the building, and so, I mean, they definitely need to cone off that spot. But I'm just kind of curious, especially as the upper and lower Carlson lots could be available, would they be more willing to have some?
Since there's
overflow
people
in those?
over there, that would be great. Yeah.
I'll see if I
I
can.
think that's a
That'd be great.
thing too.
Yeah, and then I thought about, oh, can we shuttle people from here? But then like last year when I was like sitting out in the field, I'm like, oh, they never make it because they're the traffic.
Yeah.
That's
The Floyd Hill traffic,
I
so.
can't wait till we have hovercrafts.
Right. So, but basically I just kind of wanted to introduce, thanks for, having us. I'm going to kind of keep it short. I'm going to try to make it my son's wrestling meet. But does anybody have any questions on anything on what we do or anything like that?
It's wonderful to get this snapshot. Thank you.
In the Booster Club, we used to do the meals for teachers, much like in their PTA.
We did.
then it was me, and now it's gonna be the PTO.
I hope so. But they need to raise some money now, so. And a couple other things, just kind of so you guys, so everybody knows, like some of the fundraisers we do besides the GTIS, that's our big one. But, didn't go at that rate this year. Hopefully next year, I tried to bring Warren Miller, the movie, back here. He used to be here 20 years ago. And that could be an $8,000 thing, but the word has to get out. And, so kind of it's that same thing. It's just kind of like, if the district can help, anything that comes up, anything that can go out district-wide, spread the word is super helpful.
You always feel free to email me.
Well, and there's always that confusion of who is currently doing.
Always feel free to email me. If
Okay.
Facebook, I'm happy to do that.
And I think I would, because I think sometimes we just do it in the district or even the school, sometimes it gets lost in the school too. And then we all know, because many of us are parents ourselves, we even don't catch all the emails. So,
Exactly, the emails are,
they get lost. Yeah, they do get lost, so.
please feel free to email me.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Yeah, certainly appreciate it. But those are the main two things. So I'd like to keep the Warren Miller back and hopefully we can move it
That'd be good.
in November, which is kind of like, we're still on the bottom of the list for local places. And if we can move it, like kick those people out and bring it to November, we'll get more people.
Maybe have the kids have like a ticket selling competition or something.
Something. I know there's so many things,
Yeah.
but, again, I'm one person, so. I mean, I'm not the only one, but yeah, everybody's kind of spread out, so. The GTIs, we did lose our race director. So, we are all just stepping up this year and trying to figure that out. So hopefully everything goes well, because we are like, none of us know what we're doing. So, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of let you guys know, kind of like, yeah, what we do and stuff like that, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
See, any public comment? Last chance, any public comment? Okay. Then we'll move on to board business. We have an applicant for the DAC and so Lindsay Valdez. So
I make a motion to approve Lindsay Valdez for the DAC applicant to represent the Georgetown Community School as a parent.
second, thank you.
Monica?
Yes.
Kay?
Yes.
Kane?
Yes.
McHugh?
Yes.
Yes, the Clear Creek Economic Development Corp is organizing their resilience team, and we've got a person sitting on it already, so.
I would
Look
move
for a
that we
motion.
approve Kelly Flanagan to do double duty on that board for the CCEDC board. Yeah.
Resilience team.
Yeah. I'm just reading the agenda. Words weren't there.
I'll second.
Monica?
I'm gonna abstain.
Kay?
Yes.
Kane?
Yes.
McHugh?
Yes.
Yes.
And you can count on Jessica and I
Yeah,
to always
thanks,
support
guys.
you if you're
Awesome.
deciding not to show up at your own board meeting.
Kind of a bad look, but I love it.
We'd be glad to support.
Or if you need
Yeah,
support,
yeah.
Love for you to come.
Winter board meetings, we're looking at scheduling, and it's been tough for our student representatives to get here for our 4 o'clock study session and the 5 o'clock board meetings because they're usually in athletics. Plus everybody coming off the Loveland and parking on I-70, that is, it's like 4 o'clock. We were looking at moving our board time to 5:30, so I would just look for an approval, a motion to approve those new meeting times.
I would move to approve the meeting times, both the study session and the business meetings to 5:30.
I'll second that.
Monica?
Yes.
Kay?
Yes.
Kane?
Yes.
McHugh?
Yes.
Yes. Under policy. Under second read, we have 3. Yes, 3 under second read. Policy GDD is staff vacations and holidays. Policy GCL is professional staff schedules and calendars, and then ICICA is the school year, school calendar, and instruction time, and this is really just aligning all those policies with the boarding. So,
Are we allowed to do a fell swoop approval on all of this?
I think we have to do each of them individually, but.
I mean, I appreciate your efficiency, but I'm a fast talker, so I'm going to approve policy GDD, staff vacations and holidays on second read.
I'll second. Flanagan.
Yes.
Hay.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
McHugh. Yes.
Yes.
I would like to move that we approve policy GCL, professional staff schedules and calendars on second read.
I'll second. Flanagan.
Yes.
Hay.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
McHugh.
Yes.
Yes.
I would like to move that we approve policy IC-ICA, school year, school calendar, and instruction time on second read.
I'll second. Flanagan.
Yes.
Hay. Yes. King.
Yes.
McHugh.
Yes.
Yes. And under first read, we have policies LBD and LBDR, and that aligns with our relations with the district charter schools. And we postponed that from fall of '23 because we wanted to get through the
Actually,
new
having a
chartering,
charter?
yes. Did we have, I don't think we've had any feedback there, so.
I had some feedback I would just like to elevate just for the good of all our fans. That this really is a straightforward policy with minor changes in the language, and it isn't anything that is related to our relationship or partnership
Correct.
with Georgetown Community School. So I just want to make that very clear. This is really just how the entities work together and mirroring policies. So I just think that that's an important thing to elevate, as I did get a couple questions of, are you guys in a fight? What's going on?
Right.
And I just want to be able to
It's a
put that
lot
on
of
record.
wills and shalls and exchanging them.
Yeah, it's just aligning ourselves with the CASB bureaucracy.
Casby work.
So I would love
So with that, I would like to move to approve policy LBD, relations with charter schools.
I'll second. Flanagan.
Yes.
Hay. Yes. King.
Yes.
McHugh.
Yes.
Yes.
And I would also like to move policy LBD-R, which is the relations with district charter schools, procedures for establishment, review, and renewal, revocation, and closure on first read.
I'll second.
Flanagan.
Yes.
Hay.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
McHugh.
Yes.
Yes. Consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Flanagan.
Yes.
Hay. Yes. King.
Yes.
McHugh.
Yes.
Yes.
Do the students get a copy of the minute stuff too? So if they ever have any feedback or comments, I always feel like, is that right for you? Okay, just want to get that, okay, thank you.
Just for you all, the consent agenda includes past minutes and staffing updates, so
And they're posted as well.
they are, but just so you don't know what we're checking off on here. Any suggestions for future agenda items?
I would like to see that we're still moving with the investigative piece of having a homeschool program in the district.
That's part of our conversations,
Last
gathering
week.
information.
Yep.
So
I just want to keep it
processes and
going, yeah.
Sunday, well, I'm not sure when that will be, but we'll have some conversation. I would not say February, but later.
Maybe a marketing update, just
Yeah, see where we're at,
how is it going?
some of the data points.
I think just the reminder for study session agendas, so I know that's not this, but just the reminder that on study session, we have the line item for legislative review or policy updates as needed.
So the cap.
Yep, and I think removing the cap going forward. If there's nothing else, I would like to move that we convene an executive session pursuant to section 24-6-402 sub 4 sub E sub 3 of Colorado Revised Statutes. This is developing the strategy of the school district for negotiations relating to collective bargaining or employment contracts, specifically with respect to the school district's negotiations concerning its collective bargaining agreements with the Clear Creek County Education Association for teachers and education support professionals for the term beginning August 1st, 2025.
I'll second. Flanagan.
Yes.
Hay. Yes. King.
Yes.
McHugh.
Yes.
Yes. So thank you, everyone that came this evening. You are welcome to stay out there, but at the end, we will just say that we've come out of executive session and we only discussed what was allowed, and we will make no decisions tonight. So, but thank you so much for coming and joining us.